Good morning. It's Tuesday, April 28th, and it's time to do our read aloud, The Runaway Racehorse. Yesterday, Ruth Rose and the boys that the picture she took of Dancer winning the race at the winner's circle, she saw the neighbor congratulating the jockey, Mr. Bunks. And when they had went over to Mr. Bunk's ranch, he had told Forrest that he was no longer in the horse racing business. What is Mr. Bunks up to? And can Ruth Rose prove that it was Mr. Bunks in the winner's circle congratulating the jockey? Let's find out. Chapter 9. Then Uncle Warren walked into the barn. He was wearing flip-flops and a bathing suit and carrying a towel. "Coming for a swim?" he asked. "Sure," Dink said. The kids followed Uncle Warren toward the house. "After we swim, let's go and get my film," Ruth Rose said quietly. The kids changed and joined Forrest and Uncle Warren in the pool. They played keep away with a plastic ball. "Still no sign of Sunny and Whirlaway," Forrest said, nodding toward the barn. "I sure hope they didn't have any trouble on the road." "We're going to get my film," Ruth Rose said. Maybe she'll be here when we get back." "There's a safe bike path on the side of the road," Forrest said. "Have a nice walk." The kids dried off, pulled on their clothes, and headed across the lawn. "I wonder what's taking Sunny so long to get back here?" Dink asked as they hiked down the driveway. "She could have stopped for food," Josh said. He rubbed his belly. He's always hungry. Isn't he always hungry? A few minutes later, they walked into photo finish. Josh immediately spied a rack of candy, so he bought a big bag of M&Ms. Ruth Rose's film was ready. She paid the clerk, and then they started walking back to Forrest's house, where they could look at the pictures in private. Josh ripped open his candy and began munching, one piece at a time. Now, if I were eating M&Ms, I would take a handful, put them in my mouth. One piece would last a long time. When they got back to Forrest, the kids headed straight to the barn. Sunny and Whirlaway still had not returned. Ruth Rose opened the packet of pictures and took them out. There were a few of her cat, then one taken by the train conductor. The next pictures were of the horses in the barn at Saratoga. Then there was the one of the horses on the track, but it was blurry. I wonder why it would be blurry. Probably because the horses were running really fast and our camera can't take a motion picture. Next was Sunny with Whirlaway and Barney. The last picture was taken at the winner's circle. It showed Dink and Josh with Dancer's head between them. The man in the cowboy hat was standing in the background. He was wearing a leather belt with a big silver buckle. "It's Mr. Bunks, all right," Dink said. The kids studied the picture. Ruth Rose brought it closer to her eyes. "Guys, do you see anything weird about Dancer's forehead?" She asked. "Well, it looks really shiny," Dink said, peering closely. "And darker than the rest of his face," Josh observed. "From a distance, you'd never notice," Ruth Rose said. Dirty shirt collar, head between shoulders. Maybe they put some paint on Dancer's forehead and it rubbed on the shirt of Josh. Maybe. Let's see. That can make it look like that. Or what can make it look like that? Josh asked. Something dark, like shoe polish, perhaps, Josh said. "Wait a minute," Ruth Rose said. "Josh, let's see that mark on your shirt." Josh leaned in so Dink and Ruth Rose could inspect his collar. It looks like shoe polish, said Dink. Yes, Josh said. Now I remember, Ruth Rose. When you took the picture, I felt Dancer nudge me in the back. So Dancer made that mark, Ruth Rose said. Why would anyone want to put shoe polish on a horse? Dink said. I don't know, but I know who could have done it, Ruth Rose said. Sunny was polishing her boots with black polish right before the race. But Sunny doesn't have anything to do with Dancer, Josh pointed out. Ruth Rose shuffled through the pictures until she found the one of Sunny and Whirlaway in Barn E. She looked at it for a second, then pulled it next to the one of Dink and Josh with Dancer. Wow, Josh said. The horses look like twins. Dink picked up the picture of Sunny in Barn E, except this one was a white mark on his forehead. The shoe polish could be covering up a white mark on Dancer's forehead, Ruth Rose said. And here's a picture. This, over here, right here, is with Dancer. And that is where Josh got his mark on his shirt because this horse maybe has shoe polish on his forehead. And Sunny is here, supposedly with Whirlaway. So let's see what happens. But why would Sunny and Mr. Bunks or anybody want to cover up a white mark on Dancer's forehead? Why would it matter? Josh asked. Dink thought about that. Then he remembered Sunny's comment after the race about how she felt like she was riding a different horse. That's it, Dink said, snapping his fingers. What's what? Josh asked. Guys, what if the horse we washed wasn't Whirlaway? Dink asked. What do you mean? Josh asked. I mean, what if someone stole Whirlaway, then brought back a different horse to replace him? Josh and Ruth Rose just stared at Dink. Well, that would explain why he acted so strange, Ruth Rose said finally. And why he blew the race, Josh said. It would also explain the shoe polish, said Dink. Huh? Said Josh. Well, Dink said, why would someone want to steal a fast racehorse like Whirlaway? To win races, Ruth Rose said. Right, said Dink. And if someone did steal Whirlaway and enter him in a race, he'd be sure to disguise him somehow, like covering up a mark on his forehead with shoe polish, said Josh. So that's why Mr. Bunks was there, Ruth Rose said. He must have stolen Whirlaway and entered him in the race as Dancer. And I'll bet Sunny's working for him, said Josh. It would have been easy for her to switch the horses. Plus, we saw her with shoe polish, Dink said. I'd like to ask Sunny a few questions, Ruth Rose said. Where is Sunny? Josh asked. That's a good question, said Ruth Rose, looking around the empty barn. She sighed. And if she didn't switch horses, how can we prove the horse she rode wasn't Whirlaway? Dink asked. I know a way, Josh said. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a sugar cube. Forrest said Whirlaway doesn't like sugar. I'll offer this to Whirlaway or whoever it is. If he eats the sugar, we'll know it's not Whirlaway. Ha ha. Remember at the beginning of the story? The sugar cubes? I said, it's probably going to be a clue. All right, now the biggest question to me is Sunny involved or doesn't she know? Maybe she has no idea. Maybe it's just Mr. Bunks stealing the horse or switching the horses. Could it be both of them? Maybe they're all sharing the money from the winner's circle. I don't know. Time will tell. Thanks for reading with me. Have a great day.